A lot of people come to our office thinking that we're after them, but it's quite the opposite. We understand the human side of personal insolvency. We understand that you have a family and you have people that care about you. We do have an obligation to creditors. We do have an obligation to investigate. However, we are very understanding of how hard this is for you and what it's going to mean for your life. Hello, my name is Tim. I work at O'Brien Palmer as a supervisor in the personal insolvency department. I have been at O'Brien Palmer since August 2023 and I am continuing my career and professional development. Since being at O'Brien Palmer, it has been a wonderful journey, both to work in personal insolvency and to work with the staff here. I enjoy working in personal insolvency. The personal touch to it is quite different and unique when it comes to corporate insolvency. It is great to work with a variety of people in my job and in my line of work. In personal insolvency, there is quite some similarities to corporate insolvency, but probably the biggest difference is that we are working with people instead of companies. Personal insolvency, people tend to think it's more of a punishment, but more so it's turned to more of a rehabilitative process. People usually hear personal insolvency, they are always quite overwhelmed by the word. It's very daunting to them, stepping into a world that usually is very new to them and they don't know what to expect. However, at O'Brien Palmer, we offer a very personal feel to it, something that we can guide you in, show you the ropes of the personal insolvency system and make sure that you can navigate through it as easy and as peaceful as possible. Well, what's different about personal insolvency is that we get a variety of people who come to our firm and who require our services. Everyone from someone who just started in their career or in their business to someone who is close to retirement. The most common principle that I've seen is there is always families that are involved with the personal insolvency process, even though one family member is going through the personal insolvency process. Usually the whole family appears to be impacted by it, which we are very understanding of and are very used to in these conditions. Recently we had someone who came into our office. They were basically in their retirement age. Their business ran into some legal issues and some tax debt as well. When they first approached us, they were very daunted, very overwhelmed by the whole, the idea of going into personal insolvency. But our discussions prior to them being made bankrupt assured them that the process ahead of them would be quite smooth, but also reaffirming of what they would expect in a personal insolvency appointment. This person who underwent personal insolvency was quite scared. Before this person came to our office, they were experiencing mental health issues. We were trying to be very accommodating towards them. We reassured them of the process and how it would look like for them going into it. Gave them an outlook that, their issues will be addressed mainly by us, but also at the same time assured them comfort that even though they had obligations, that we were very patient and accommodating towards their mental health needs. There is a lot of stigma around personal insolvency and a lot of people are afraid of that. A lot of people are afraid of admitting it, declaring themselves bankrupt or even entering a personal insolvency agreement, and sometimes they feel quite shameful of it. But in retrospect, it's easy to fall into those type of traps. One matter I've had in the past is where someone was coming up to the end of their bankruptcy. Unfortunately, they couldn't keep up with their home repayments and the bank was on the way to repossess the property. One of her key goals in personal insolvency was to protect her house. At that point in time, there was no equity available to creditors, and if there was, it was very minimal. So the trustee was very reluctant to sell the property. So she came up with her sister a proposal to annul her bankruptcy and go through the Section 73 route. The Section 73 allows people to annul their bankruptcies instead of sitting out through the whole 3 years. Basically, a Section 73 agreement is where a person undergoing bankruptcy will make an offer to their creditors instead of sitting through the bankruptcy. The Section 73 overall needs to offer a better outcome than it does for the bankruptcy. In this case, this person, with the efforts of her family, put up a lump sum payment to her creditors, and at the same time, if her bankruptcy was annulled, the bank was going to stop repossession of the property, and in which this circumstance, the annulment was successful, creditors did accept the proposal, her house was saved, and her creditors also received some payment of their debt. This was obviously a good outcome for everyone involved, the bank, the person who was undergoing the bankruptcy, and obviously the creditors. Creditors were able to come to a consensus and agreement that the offer was better and was a commercial decision on their behalf. The person was able to save their home and go back to, I guess, their life as it was before. This was a very successful outcome. I studied a Bachelor of Business and Commerce in university. I majored in accounting, sub-majored in management. Funny enough, I actually started in social work before I commenced my business degree. I did social work for about a year and a half. I learnt various things about sociology, about psychology, and at that point in time, I wasn't sure of what I wanted to do. However, I still had a mindset of assisting people. I just didn't know how to apply that. Funnily enough, after my year and a half into social work, I transferred into business and commerce with a mindset of willingness to help people, but maybe in the business and accounting industry. I fell into the insolvency industry. I wasn't looking for it. I guess it found me. Outside of insolvency, I have done some volunteering at a local community club. It has been great to offer my time there. I get to see and work with so many faces. The community club I volunteered at was a Turkish Cypriot community club. I guess my goal there was to work with the community, share our culture, to revitalise it. And the best is hearing the stories about the elderly, what they went through. They have such good stories, being on a boat for 30 days and then coming here, making something of themselves from not knowing English to learning it, and to being homeowners and being offered an opportunity that wasn't available back in Cyprus. The tie I see to their hard work is so many people I've come across in the personal insolvency is that they also are trying to get by, and they also put in their hearts and sweat into their businesses. For those people who are coming across personal insolvency, I get it, and to see that all coming crashing down is very heartbreaking. At OPP, we try to keep your spirits alive and let you know that there is still hope going forward. We too know that you're a person and that you are just trying to get about your life and move ahead with it. We work with you to get through your obligations and your responsibilities so there is a new path for you at the end of bankruptcy.